welcome to day 2 of Graphic Novel Week. Today's video is a review of The Divine. The full synopsis of this is below, as well as links to the book so you can check it out if you want to know more. But basically all you need to know for this review is that it is a sort of dark, little weird, magical realist story that takes place in a mysterious, nebulously Asian country and is weird and dark. Did I mention that it was weird and dark? Because it is. So, here are my thoughts. As I mentioned time or two, it is dark and it is a little weird, and that of course is not going to be to everyone's tastes. It is a magical realist and fantasy-laden story. Magical realism especially can have a tendency to go a little on the weird side and often also go a bit dark, and this stays true to that. So if that's not your type of story and you know that going in, then this you may find a little off-putting. I will say it goes darker even than I was expecting. It definitely it goes really dark and even gruesome, and I mean that completely, thoroughly. It is borderline disturbing sometimes, and though even when I find something that I go, oh god, still I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. Some people will go, oh god, and it will turn their stomach and they will want nothing else to do with it. So something to know going in if viscera and gore is not your thing. But for all that it is gruesome and very dark and definitely on the weird side, it's just as intriguing. I mean, it follows a format that I think readers will know. They'll be familiar with. It's not going to necessarily surprise people what happens. I think most people will feel the patterns of it forming and say, okay, this is where we're going. The ways in which it's done are what make it interesting, I guess. I think that can be true of a lot of stories. There are a lot of things that we read that we kind of know going in are foregone conclusions, but how it comes about, how it's treated, is what makes the story worth the read. So I think that's the case here. All I'm saying is that the fact that you kind of know where it's going doesn't detract from it. It's not a bad thing, in my opinion. It actually kind of works in this weird way that makes you feel a little uncomfortably complacent because you think you know what's going to happen. When things do happen and they're startling, a little bit more of a shock to the system or a little bit more of a gross out factor, and so it kind of plays on that, I guess. It can be slightly confusing. There are these kind of nightmares that happen in this shifting perspective, I guess, that is jarring, and it's intentionally so, but that might make the story hard to follow for some people. Because of that, I think it actually will be a good one for rereads. Again, it's in a way that I think works, but maybe not everyone will. Or some people may just even be frustrated. I don't think it completely throws you out of the flow of the story, and it does feel very intentional to kind of jar you the way it does, but that's a style that's just never going to be to everyone's tastes. Some people like very linear storytelling, and this is not necessarily that. But I think if you do like that type of storytelling, you're probably not going to go for something that's magical realism anyway. And it's interesting because the fact that it is very straightforward on the one hand, but also very jarring and a little loopy on the other hand, makes for a very interesting reading experience, kind of keeps you on your toes. But beyond all of that, I think its biggest selling point is the art, which is absolutely gorgeous. It is just stunning. I love the way that everything seems like a bit of a heightened reality. Again, it suits the world and it kind of adds to tension in your reading experience with it. And so I guess at the end of the day, it's definitely not the book for everyone, and there are things some people will find off-putting to say the least, but when you get past that, if it is the right type of story for you, it is memorable and a little uncomfortable and definitely intriguing. I would say very well worth the read. So that is what I thought of The Divine. As I mentioned, the full synopsis as well as links to the book are in the info, so if you're curious, you can find out more or pick up your own copy there. And if you have read this, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned all week for my thoughts on more graphic novels, and if you have any that you think I should pick up or any you want to share your thoughts on, feel free to chime in the comments or get a hold of me on Twitter at any time. But that is all for today's video. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, thanks for watching and happy reading!